calm down.
It's okay, I'm sorry.
He apologized.
It's my fault.
He apologized.
Yeah, I know.
And you know what? That didn't upset me. But the bitch ass hoe.
Sorry.
Are these the world's most crispy fries? Let's find out.
If you're like me, you probably play games that aren't super popular anymore. I've recently been playing a ton of No Man's Sky, which, while yes, is easily a recognizable name in gaming for its super successful launch and super immersive gameplay when it was released. But every time I check my Steam library, I see what game I'm going to play next, so the monkey inside of my head doesn't go absolutely postal and purchase a new game. I see a few titles that I really wish were still popular. Now when I say wish were still popular, I mean games that are literally dead. Games that have either had a large player base but no longer have that, or games that literally had no one playing. These games are what I would like to believe are good enough games to have large amounts of players today that should really get updated or loved by more players. So without going too much further into this intro,
just got coconut mold.
Alright, let's see what game I should talk about first besides the one that I had the idea for this video from. The Mean Greens is the third-person shooter where you play as a little green military toys from like the like kids, the things, you know what I mean? I've personally found this art style to be super interesting since you can quite literally imagine these toys anywhere in a store or bedroom, kind of like that one game that is one step away from copyright infringement. The Mean Greens, for what it is, has a ton of content for what you pay for, with tons of maps, modes, and even a small community for you to interact with. The only problem being that this game is dead as fuck. My friend Necru and I were looking at Steam charts one night and saw a grand total of 4 people playing this game. Given this was around midnight when we checked, but even at the 24-hour peak, you'll never really see this game at more than 20 people online. What makes this even worse is that instead of updating the game with new content or to advertise it to an audience who could possibly check it out, they added 2 wrestlers from 20 years ago to widen their audience. When I say this, I'm talking to you, Virtual Basement. Rob Van Dam and Kurt Angle have not been relevant in the wrestling scene in years. Maybe if you're super into the wrestling niche, but you have John Cena following you. You mean to tell me you went with the guy who hasn't seen mainstream wrestling appeal in 16 years? No hate on Kurt Angle, but if you wanted to add wrestlers into a game that has literally nothing to do with wrestling, at least give us someone who is still somewhat relevant. I have made 2 videos on Splitgate, and let's just say some of those are my least performing videos to date. What 1047 Games did with their peak popularity is kind of embarrassing, to say the least. With the Mean Greens, yeah, the game once had popularity, but never the amount of popularity that Splitgate had. I remember when this game was blowing up on TikTok, there was hours of waiting time to get on and play. Now, you'd be lucky to find more than a couple thousand people online. Splitgate was sort of like if you took Halo and Portal and just like squished a game out of it, and 1047 Games knew this since they posted it on their website. With the futuristic soldier style of gameplay mixed with the portal gun, you could actually have really interesting matches with this game. If you knew where to place portals and how to time things right, you could easily dominate any match you were placed into. This game was once so popular that not only did you have to wait hours to play, but they received $10 million in investment money to continue development. You wanna know what they did with $10 million of investment money? A battle pass with microtransactions. Basically nothing about this game has changed since its peak popularity. Sure, the menu has changed, obvious bugs and glitches have been found, but you're still not getting anything new within the game for months. I hate to compare it to Fortnite or Call of Duty, but those games release new and exciting content all the time. Crossovers make these games popular to new audiences who haven't played them before. While yeah, 1047 Games is a small team, $10 million in investment money can achieve a lot more than a battle pass. Today, you can find just about 1,600 players at peak hours, which, yeah, it's not too bad for a small game. But at its all-time popularity, it had just about 64,000 players online. And before we continue, let me just fact-check myself by saying that they didn't get just a measly $10 million investment, but 1047 Games was valued at $1.5 billion after raising $100 million from Splitgate. Yeah, this game fucking flopped. If you've kept up with Source games at all, you may or may not have heard of Day of Defeat, a World War II shooter made by Valve years before Call of Duty decided they would shit the bed with the whole genre. It played very similar to CS Source, and with that, you can find screaming teenagers instead of Russians screaming Suka. It was at a time when Valve was still developing games with the original Source engine, and that you can still see some low poly models in early map development. The game was pretty simple, being that you would just find the other team and eliminate them, but this was the first time Valve made an FPS game that was, for one, actually fucking good, and also didn't continue development for. This game wasn't bad by any means, it was just simply abandoned by the developer to continue on some other indie projects that wouldn't hold mainstream appeal ever. I really wish Valve would continue the series, being as Day of Defeat Source is just the upgraded version of the original Day of Defeat. Of course, we all know how Valve feels about the number 3 or continuing games people actually enjoy, but nevertheless, I'd still love to see this game come back in some way. Wait, Brawlhalla? This game isn't dead. On Steam alone, it reaches 15,000 people on a daily basis. While yes, the community still exists, Brawlhalla is not at all what it used to be. I started playing Brawlhalla around March of 2019, and we used to get new legends all the time. When I first started playing, Thor had just came out, then Petra soon after, Vector, Volkov, Onyx, and so on. While some of the legends from this game haven't been great because Greatsword makes me want to tear my eyes out, you could still see that the development team wanted to make new and interesting legends. Now, welcome to Brawlhalla. Want to buy the 6th battle pass we're offering? Want to complete the most mundane tasks that only promote spamming buttons to unlock skins? Anyways, here's a bunch of characters from different franchises that don't have anything to do with fighting games. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Brawlhalla feels like they're trying to grab people's money. When I first started playing, yeah, there were paid skins, but I didn't feel like I needed to pay for any of that until I was like 100 hours in. To be fair, you can still achieve this, but before it really felt like you were constantly advertised with paid content that offers little to nothing to the game. It's especially noticeable now considering that there are more paid crossovers than legends in the game. This game has made an entire rabbit hole of why people think this game is losing traction, but for me, it's just new skins and battle passes at this point. I remember when the Petra trailer came out and how amazing it looked. Now, I don't fucking care for any of the crossovers at this point. Alright, I'm clicking off this video. You mean to tell me that CSGO is a dead game? It still brings in hundreds of thousands of players on a daily basis. Alright, before all the 14-year-old professional op players get mad at me, I'm mostly talking about the Battle Royale mode brought in when CSGO went free to play. I think we can all safely admit that this was a cash grab to get players from Fortnite and Warzone back into CSGO. Especially since now you're not paying for the base game to get a Battle Royale. You're also getting a normal standardized FPS shooter along with it. As long as you're not running into hackers because your mom wouldn't buy you Prime. Danger Zone was the standard drop in, find loot, find other players with a circle that got smaller over time. Of course, this game being made with an engine that was made back when I was still learning to walk, the total number of players in a match was just limited to about 16 people if you queued for a single player map. While the map was smaller in size than normal Battle Royale maps, so the other player count wasn't too noticeable, it was obvious that Valve was just shoveling all their earnings from fancy gambling into another mode that would potentially earn them more money. They've been at least putting more maps into the game than I thought. What made this different from other Battle Royales was that you weren't possibly playing for 30 plus minutes like you would in the 12-year-old treehouse building contest, but if you found enough cash, you could actively call in new supplies, sort of like that other Battle Royale not made for 12-year-olds, but it's not much better. I just wish Valve would consider putting more effort into getting people into play this game mode. It felt like a reason for casual players to actually play the game instead of getting hit with the op 15 million times on Dust 2. It even takes so long just to ready up a match in Danger Zone that I wouldn't even try to get a normal game for footage. The best way I could do it was using console commands, and if I have to have some light technical details about the engine you're using just to see what a map looks like, then it's obviously dead.